Recording in progress.
This segment is for financial content creators. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals publish to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Philip Taylor. He's the founder of the FinCon Expo. Philip, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Mark. It's good to be here.
Tell us a little bit about FinCon Expo and who are the types of folks that you serve there?
Sure. It's a 4-day annual gathering, conference, and trade show of everyone who's creating content in the personal finance space. So think about like bloggers, YouTubers, podcasters, TikTokers, anyone who's sharing financial education with consumers. They come together for a 4-day event, meet with each other, share ideas, and meet with brands as well, who oftentimes want to advertise on their channels.
Could you tell us a little bit about your inspiration for creating this event? Were there some major challenges that financial content creators had that you came in to solve?
Sure. Well, the event's been going for about 13 years now. So back in the day, there weren't that many creators, and the ones that were there were bloggers. And so it was a handful of bloggers who were talking about this subject online, sharing information with readers. And we just needed a place to gather. There were other blogging conferences, there were other marketing conferences, but there was nothing like FinCon yet. And so, being a blogger myself, I thought it would be really cool if we had one space where we could all get together and share ideas and talk shop. And so that was the inspiration for it. It was the event that I wanted to have that wasn't in existence yet, and so I created it.
What are some of the things that financial content creators will discover if they're attending this event for the first time? What kind of connections are people making, and what kind of resources can they avail themselves of?
Sure. There will discover that there are hundreds more folks like themselves who aren't afraid to talk about the topic of money and share that with others online, and they're not scared of that subject. So there's a special serendipity that happens, I think, when you get that group together. Um, Everyone in the community has a real abundance mindset, a collaborative mindset. So when you get together, it's not very competitive or cutthroat. It's very much like, let's lock arms together, help each other out, and move forward. The event itself is really a marketing conference. It's not a financial conference. So when people come, they learn how to, what we call the create, promote, profit framework. So folks can come and learn how to create their content better, whether that be on a YouTube channel or a podcast channel, how to promote that content through social media, email marketing, or other means. And then, of course, how to monetize that, whether that be through sponsored partnerships or products and services or advice that they sell themselves. And so that create, promote, profit framework is really how we structure the education at the event. And then we try to allow for connections to further enable, sort of that framework.
Philip, we work with a lot of financial advisors, for example, on their signature books. And one thing that comes up a lot, in terms of your formula, is compliance. Are there any big misconceptions around compliance and what you can talk about and what you can't talk about within your content?
Right. Well, I'm not a financial advisor expert, but I do know that you can structure your advisory or your practice in a way that allows you a little more freedom. But it forces you to sort of move toward more of an independent route with your structure. So if you're sort of tied in with a bigger financial institution, it may be more difficult. Oftentimes you'll see financial planners create sort of a separate site where they do their education and marketing through that channel, and then they sort of keep their advisory practice on a different channel. So splitting those two things up oftentimes works. Or like I said, moving toward more of an independent model where you're sort of freeing yourselves from the bigger institution, and then you're free to market a little more freely, in our space. And so the good thing is that I don't necessarily have all the answers, but the advisors who do market themselves through these channels come to our event and showcase it, at the event, how they're doing it. There's always a session every year on our specific advisor track at the conference where someone's talking about basically this exact thing, how to market their services, even though you're sort of handcuffed a little bit by compliance.
Along the same lines of compliance and marketing, for that matter, are there any other misconceptions around marketing, and do you feel that those misconceptions may hold a lot of advisors back from creating content and becoming a creator. What are some of the big misconceptions you hear out there?
I think that probably the biggest misconception, and I think it relates to me too, is that you have to be really a talking head with your content. And you don't really have to be. I think I really like the interview based uh, sort of style of content where I'm asking my end user or asking a potential client or asking a fellow colleague in the space information that's useful to my audience. So don't feel like you all of a sudden need to turn into a Dave Ramsey type where it's just you and the screen and talking to the screen. It can be you and someone else having a conversation. That's a little more, and it doesn't even have to be video. It could just be audio to start. And man, I really like podcasts as a way for financial advisors to reach their potential clients because it just puts them in the ear of their client, allows the client to feel more comfortable listening to the advisor without having to pay initially, but then really get really comfortable with them. And then they turn into a great client because they really know, like, and trust you by the end of that. So yeah, those are some of the hurdles, but I think there's several ways to do it. So
Can you take us back 13 years to your inspiration? You started out as a blogger. What kind of content were you creating, and what was your background, and sort of what led that to you led you to the creation of FinCon?
sure, good question. So I'm a financial professional myself. I'm a CPA. And so I came up through the public accounting world for a while, did some corporate finance. To be honest, I always knew I was an entrepreneur inside and I needed to find something else to do, but it was good to kind of cut my teeth working on other people's books for a while. It was around 2007 when I started a blog on the side. And the idea was for me to share my personal finance journey, learning how to invest, save, get rid of some of the consumer debt that we had through student loans and car loans. At the time, I was getting married, so I was sort of sharing what was going on financially with my marriage and how we were planning for college savings, things like that. So just sharing my journey online enabled me to sort of participate in this blogosphere of conversations around money that was scary. In fact, I even started anonymously. So I just went by PT initially. People didn't even know my real name, but it allowed me to sort of have these conversations out there and then attract an audience. And that ultimately led to a business, the blog turning into a business of its own. So it was something that I didn't necessarily plan for, but I'm glad I found it, and and it's changed my life. So I've through FinCon, I've sort of always wanted to sort of share that same opportunity and feeling with new creators who come into the space of taking something that seems unreal or impossible at first, but then turning it into a reality for them.
Terrific. Philip, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is really important to share with financial content creators or folks that are considering joining you at FinCon?
Yep, I would just say in general, it's not too late to start. People often think, "Oh, well, I'll never learn these skills of digital marketing, or never. It's too late to sort of jump in." It's not. I even thought the same thing whenever I was getting started back in 2007. It's not too late to start. And secondly, the world needs your voice. They need your unique opinion and your voice because it's going to resonate with someone unique. Personal finance is personal. And so the more voices and folks we have talking about that subject and educating consumers on it, the better off we'll be. So jump in, get started. If you're already started, you need to be around a group of people who's talking the same language you are. So come to FinCon and check it out.
For folks listening who would love to get more information and connect with you, how can they find you, connect, and learn more?
Sure. Head on over to finconexpo.com and you'll see everything about the upcoming event, which is this October 18th in New Orleans. And if you want to reach me personally, I'm just at pt at finconexpo.com. Also on Twitter at ptmoney.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you, for FinCon, and all of your attendees.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate having me on.
That was Philip Taylor, founder of the FinCon Expo, and this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals publish to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.